Hello everyone, and Merry Christmas, and welcome to our Christmas edition of our Saint Spotlight video. As you can see, I have my Christmas sweater on, and we have the manger in the background at the church. And as usual with my Saint Spotlight videos, I wanted to provide an unconventional way to celebrate Christmas this year. So it's the year 2020. I bet everyone is kind of looking for a prolonged Christmas celebration and a little bit more time to really ponder what the meaning of Christmas is. And we can do that with two different ways. One is by celebrating the traditional 12 days of Christmas, made famous by the song 12 Days of Christmas, where the girl, I'm guessing, gets like a bunch of birds and all that stuff. Not recommending that, but I do recommend celebrating 12 Days of Christmas. And another way to do so is by celebrating the Christmas octave. The Christmas octave is the 8 days following Christmas that allows us to really truly ponder the Christmas message. I know this Advent season for me was really busy, so I certainly am going to appreciate a few extra days to really celebrate the heart of the Christmas message. And one way we can do that is by looking at the feast days that are celebrated within the octave of Christmas. So the day after Christmas, December 26th, is the feast day of Saint Stephen, and Saint Stephen is the first martyr of the church. So for all who have seen some of our previous videos, we recapped what a martyr is, but a martyr is someone who dies for their faith or for their religious beliefs. And so Saint Stephen, as the first martyr of the church, it happens pretty early on in the church's history, which is heavily depicted in the book of the Bible, Acts of the Apostles. So in Acts 6 and 7, we're introduced to Stephen. Stephen, they describe as one of the first deacons for the church, and he is a man filled with wisdom and the Holy Spirit. This is very quickly noticed by his enemies. Stephen makes a lot of progress in a very short amount of time, and Stephen is arrested and charged with blasphemy. Eventually, he is stoned because of this after a very intense speech that he gives, which you can find in Acts 7. Something I find very interesting in St. Stephen's story is if you take the martyrdom of Stephen and you take the crucifixion of Jesus, you'll find that there are so many parallels between the two. You can obviously find more than three, but I'm just going to provide three. So first, in Jesus' ministry, you'll find a lot of stories where people are trying to trick Jesus. They're trying to get him to say something that is contrary to what they believe, to arrest him, and Jesus outsmarts them every single time. Many times in the gospel, the phrase, "they could not withstand the wisdom in which Jesus spoke," is present. The exact same thing is said for St. Stephen. He's a man filled with the Holy Spirit and one who outsmarts his opponents many, many times. Also similar to Jesus is that Stephen is arrested and charged with blasphemy, obviously on very false accusations. And then finally, as Stephen is about to die, as the people are about to rush on him and stone him, he actually says to not hold this sin against them. He pleads with the Lord to not let these sins of these people who are trying to kill him hold it against them. And that obviously mirrors what Jesus said about his killers: "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." Both of these men had so much mercy and compassion, even for the people who were killing them. But one question really stuck out as I was looking at the life of Stephen and was contemplating this message. Why on earth is it that the day after Christmas, which is such a joyous day, one filled with many celebrations, that we are celebrating the feast day of a martyr? Because obviously martyrs have a beautiful message, but they have a very tragic one in which they die for their faith. Well, Polycarp, another early martyr, puts it beautifully when he says that martyrs are celebrating, their feast day of martyrs is actually celebrating their birthday of going up into heaven. If we kind of change our perspective in how we view martyrs, obviously it's people who die for their faith, and it's so tragic, and we hope to find a world where we won't have to have martyrs, we won't have to find Christians who are being persecuted. But Polycarp puts it beautifully when he says that martyrs are really celebrating a life in heaven with God. Even Stephen was that same way, when as he was preparing to die, he looked up and the heavens opened up and he actually saw God. He saw where he was going next. And that is a very beautiful thing. So that actually the Christmas octave is filled with feast days of martyrs outside of St. Stephen as well. I encourage you to look at those and to learn a little bit more about martyrs. And my prayer challenge for you today is to pray for martyrs, both past and present, because believe it or not, we still have Christians who are being persecuted for their faith. And I want you to pray for these martyrs, past and present, and allow them to really help you get to the heart of what it means to celebrate the Christmas season. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a safe and restful Christmas season.